Hello, everyone. Welcome to a very, very special episode of HypnoMum and Ayla. And as you can see, we have an extra guest. And this is not just anybody, it's a very special guest. My mom is going to introduce her. Well, I can introduce who she is, but my mom will give a further introduction. This is Hypnogranny, my grandmother and the mother of my mother. And it's extra special because today is also the birthday of my mother. So happy birthday, HypnoMum.
Thank you.
And why we wanted to do an episode with my grandmother, well, obviously personal reasons that I'm super great. We are very grateful that she's still alive. She has a lifetime of experience, and this Christmas, me and my grandmother, there was 1 week where we spoke to each other on the phone for 3 times because I ordered a book for her. And she really wanted to know when will the book be delivered. So I said, I will call you because I get an email for that. So I called her, and then grandmother told me that she had some very sad news because her the best friend, the husband of her best friend, passed away. And to give some context, her best friend died, I think 9 or 11 years ago. So that made her quite emotional, and she was really busy about, should I go to the funeral? I think it's going to be very emotional. It might be very intense. I'm not as good. My movement is not as good as it used to be. So she was really thinking about that, and we discussed it. Then I called her again on the day of the funeral because the book didn't arrive. It was actually delivered at the postal office. So I called that postal office, and they were very sweet because they told me, you know what, no problem. We're going to bring that book to your grandmother and she will have it. So I just called her to tell her that. And my grandmother was very emotional at that day because, yeah, the funeral was, I think we were speaking around 11 o'clock and the funeral was at 2 o'clock. So then I told her, you know, grandmother, I'm going to call you the next day to find out if everything went okay with the book. So I called her on Friday and I asked her, grandmother, how was the funeral? And she told me, I completely forgot. And what was very interesting about that conversation, we spoke about it, was that she literally said, yeah, it's just been a little while ago since my best friend died. And as a hypnotherapist, I thought that was kind of interesting because she told me on Monday that her best friend had died 11 years ago, and she experienced it as if it happened yesterday. So I thought, is this maybe an indication that my grandmother is in regression? So regression, that is we use regression in hypnotherapy to go back to an earlier event in the past. And when that happens during a hypnosis session, it's not like a memory, but it's like an actual reliving. So this led to some very interesting talks that I had with my grandmother about getting older and living in the past. And I thought, this is really interesting to just record a podcast about what are the problems that you run into when you enter your old age. So my mom is going to give a little bit of background about my grandmother and what she experienced in her life. But one of the things which is very special about my grandmother is that she was born before the Second World War. And she went to school during Second World War, so the education was not that great. And she learned English all by herself, not on school, but just by herself. So she's gonna do this interview in English, but we spoke that maybe some parts might get a little bit emotional. And I said, that's no problem. You can switch to Dutch and I will translate. So that's a little bit of the background. And we're gonna just have a conversation. So we're not gonna, this is not an informational topic or episode, but this is really a conversation and to learn from my grandmother, what are the things that you encounter in old age? Our hope is that it might inspire hypnotherapists, you know, to really come up with maybe audio tapes that can help older people. In fact, we have on the hypnosis community already 1 audio tape available to help in old age. Did I want to say anything else? Yeah, we're just going to have a conversation, and we really hope that you will enjoy this conversation. So Mom, now to you, can you just give a little bit of background about this amazing woman sitting next to you who gave birth to you?
Yes, on this day.
Yes.
I'm not going to mention how many years ago, but it is a lot. And for the record, she is 88. So
yes,
beautiful, memorable age. Well, she was born, like Ayla said, just before World War II, and she witnessed a complete transition from the world. Let's say that people were doing a lot of manual things, being on the farm, plowing perhaps with a horse. Shortly thereafter, the tractors were coming. But she's seen this whole change in regards of technology, in values of people, cultural changes. She was present during the Second World War, which she remembers a lot of details about still. And she also witnessed the emergence of the age of computers. I think she was one of the front runners of older people who got schooled in learning a computer. So now she uses an iPad, and I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say, but perhaps she will like it. She has a Facebook account, and when we post this, you can greet her from all over the world.
Yes.
Would that be nice?
I don't know. Maybe it's all much.
It will be a bit overwhelming, maybe.
Well,
it's a bridge too far.
A bridge too far. Well,
yeah, so don't spam my grandmother on her Facebook.
And the other thing is so that next to that, at an older age, she started teaching herself to learn the piano.
Oh yeah, true.
And she always had these wrists that were very, how do you say that, that were tough because of an illness. So for her, I developed an audio tape, like she was playing in front of an audience, and the more she played, the more supple her wrist would become, and that helped her also a lot. So
that's interesting to say, yeah, because Mom or grandmother experienced hypnosis herself, and we're going to ask her about that.
Yes. Okay, I think that's a lot of introduction already. So yeah, she can talk, and she will do a fabulous job in English.
Yes,
it will all come back. Yeah. Yeah.
Is there anything you would like to say?
Not on the moment.
Not on the moment. So, as I said, you can speak in Dutch if English is getting too difficult.
No, we try English. And is it don't work, we can change in Dutch.
Sounds very good. So, grandmother, what are the things that you struggle with the most getting older? What is the most difficult part of getting older?
Yeah, it is hardly to explain.
Mm-hmm.
You get some new things, but you lost a lot of things. Being older is being lonelier, because people you have known all your life passed away, and that makes you lonely. You still miss them because there's nothing coming back in place most of the time. You are too old to make new friends. That's not so easy, because you're older and you go do less things. Although I am going to
Sculpturing?
Yeah. That which started up maybe when I was 70.
Okay, 70. Yeah. So at the age of 70, you picked up a new hobby, sculpturing.
Yes. And it gave me a lot of pleasure. And you also meet other people and make friends.
Yeah. Yeah, so it becomes more difficult to make friends as you get older and you lose a lot of people
Yes,
and it gets lonely.
yes.
Are you willing to share a little bit about loneliness? How it is?
Ja, dat is hard to beschrijven. When you should tell, I had a friend, a female friend, vanaf I was 5, 6 years old. She's passed away. And we staying friends all these years. She was also in the 80s when she died. I was moved in another part of the country. We still are staying friends. And now she's gone and I miss her very much.
That's that I was talking about. Her husband passed away recently.
Yes, but that's a different matter.
Yeah.
I cannot so well talk about my husband.
Oh, your husband.
Yes, that is too near. I want a certificate.
Opa,
Yeah, that's too.
grandfather.
Yeah, that's too painful to talk about. I was not talking about grandfather.
Nee.
I was talking about you were talking about your best friend.
Yeah.
Who you've known since you were very young.
Yes.
Right? 5 years old.
Yes.
And you're missing her a lot because you stayed in touch your entire life.
Yes.
And even when she moved to another country, or not another country, she moved to another place in the Netherlands.
Yes.
You still stayed in touch.
Yeah.
And her husband, the husband of your best friend,
yes,
he passed away recently.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And that's why I was saying that, because I just spoke about that. Yeah.
Yes.
So that's like one of the people that you miss the most.
Yeah. Ja, we waren hoe noem je de kleuterschool?
Kindergarten?
Yeah, friends from the kindergarten.
Yeah.
That long.
Yeah.
Until now.
Yeah, and I can also.
I hope she is still on this world.
Sorry, you?
I hope she stay a bit longer on this world.
Yes, she left too soon. And I can also imagine that if you grow up with someone and you're the same age, that you have a lot in common.
Yeah.
Like you have similar experiences.
Yes.
Right? Like you both went to the war.
Yeah, we have held in contact all these years.
Yeah.
So it's an old friendship. Very special.
Yeah. And so that's one of the things that's very difficult from getting old, like losing people.
Yes.
And are there other problems you encounter getting older?
You can don't do so much anymore. It's difficult to holding friends because you have not much contact. And so you lose friends.
Yeah.
And then I was going sculpturing.
Sculpturing, yeah.
Yeah.
To make new friends.
To make new friends. And that is very nice to do, sowieso.
Yeah.
And I make friends.
Yes, okay. Yeah, so the sculpturing itself is fun.
Yeah.
And but you did it actually to make new friends.
Yes.
To talk to people and
do something. I love it, how to do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, maybe we can show it later, but there's a lot of sculptures also around the house, right? That you made.
Yeah.
So grandmother is very
I
creative.
put some pictures in the video.
Yeah. Oh, that's nice. Yeah. If that's okay, we can show some pictures to people.
Oh ja, de zoon is een poes, is aan de slaapkamer. Ja, samen met een vriendin maakt hem allebei een poes. Dan praat ik natuurlijk in Nederlands.
That's okay. Yeah. Grandmother is saying that together with the friend, she made A kitten.
Yes, and it's amazing how much difference this skull persons seem a very different cat of mine. That was very much fun om te doen.
Ah, I get, yeah, so you're both making kind of the same animal.
Een poes staat hier, dus die kan het ook verzenden.
Ah, we'll make a picture of it. But the result was very different. Like your friend made something completely different than what you made.
Ja, en allebei een kat. Very much different.
Oh,
Yes.
Nice. Yeah, and and what I think is also interesting to talk about a little bit is what we spoke about on the phone, like losing your memory or forgetfulness.
Yes, yeah, that is very difficult.
Can you say something more about that? How it is, or?
Yeah, that's very hard.
Yeah, because one of the things
I used to have a very good memory, but at school now I forget a lot of things.
Yeah,
And that's not so nice. I became old on that point.
well, if I can say like my experience, because I think what I notice, if I ask you questions about, for instance, the Second World War, or when you're younger, you can explain it as if it was yesterday.
Yeah, that is so too. But just because World War II was had a great impact of your life. My dad was in the army. He fought in the 1940s in the midst of Holland. And every shoulder he was gone to on our fields was at home. And my dad was not to be seen or not to have heard anything from him. And a few months after the peace in Nederland again, with the German, and we kwam somebody to my mom and told about my father. He was alive, but he was in prison.
He was in prison. So just to recap for the audience also that your father had to fight during the Second World War, and then the fight was over, and all
the Grebbeberg, where the hardest fight van Holland was.
It was the toughest fight in the Netherlands, and all the men that fought there came home. But your dad, there was no news about him for 2 weeks.
No.
And suddenly there was
for months, I think.
Yeah, months.
Oh, months.
Yes.
Oh my God. And then suddenly you get the news he's still alive, but he's a prisoner.
Yeah.
And then had a really big impact on you?
No, not much. My mom, we lived in the same street as my grandmother and grandfather, so she had a lot of support of them.
But interesting detail, he went with black hair and he came back with gray hair.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
But still, I just imagine how old were you?
6.
6. Don't you,
Yeah,
didn't
5.
you?
Ik was, ja, toen was de oorlog net, nou ja, ik was 6. Yeah.
6. So I just think when you're 6, like, didn't you miss your dad at that time? Like, or how was that as a child?
And yeah, we missed him very much because one day I was walking in our street and I saw someone was coming on feet. And I looked and it was my dad, and oh, I was so happy.
That's when you saw him again.
Yeah, for just a few days ago.
Oh, yeah. Quite. So yeah, so that's the one thing that when coming back to the memory, that when it comes to talking about the past, it seems like the memory is still there,
Yeah.
But for instance, when I spoke to you this Friday, I said, do you remember Mom's birthday? And you told me, and I thought that was, yeah, kind of funny, but not really. You said, yeah, I know. I've been practicing all week to remember.
Yeah, it's true.
So it's like, when it comes to memory, that's how I experience it from talking to you. That's why I want to check. It's like, it's more day-to-day stuff where you kind of forget a little bit the details, like forgetting to go to a funeral,
Yeah.
having to, write down on your calendar who is coming. And even when I came in today, you're like, oh, Ayla.
That's true.
Yeah. So how do you have any, how do you deal with that?
Yes, it's difficult. I still find it difficult because if I was younger, I remembered everything. I don't forget things.
Yeah.
I sometimes thought, I hope I forget this, but I never forget what. And now, I'll go back.
Yeah.
Have memory back.
Yeah, so you are used to having an excellent memory.
Yes.
And then now this experience of losing it, it's like,
it's gone.
Yeah. So, but are there any tricks that you use? Like, I know that you use the calendar to write down who's coming.
Yeah.
Are there any other tricks that you do to remember things?
No, it's not so much.
Okay. Yeah, and you were also telling me that what is also hard is that sometimes when you're on the street, that you are feeling confused, and then you're having an interaction with someone, and then you walk away and you see them doing like they tap their head like, oh, crazy. How is that? Like you were telling, that's really awful when people do that.
Yeah, you have to take it.
You have to take it, yeah. But I think it's good for people to be mindful about it, that, when you're talking to someone on the street who seems a little bit confused, be kind or be mindful to that person, right? Yeah.
Yeah, also a good memory. I hope it stops now.
And you've seen it from the other side, because for years you've taken care of Dad, who had Alzheimer.
Yeah.
And that is a slow process. And it is, I've learned more about it for the caretakers. It is also very, very hard. They can end up with a lot of mental problems because of this. And it drains their energy. So you've given a lot of yourself in that process. So when you've witnessed that he couldn't read anymore, or at least he could read, but at the end of the page he had forgotten what was at the beginning of the page. And that's the blessing you have, because you read and you read and you read a lot. Even in English. That's tell us, because when you were young, it was very hard for you to get a hold of books. That was one of the great things that brought you joy in your life.
Yes, true. Yes.
And now you have
still
plenty.
I have plenty of books. Yes.
But you just
thank heaven.
But they are never enough. You read and you read and you read.
Yeah, I never stopped completely. No.
But it's very interesting to hear from you that in the beginning of the years, what you had to do to get hold of a book, because the moment, that was perhaps the only thing you were taught at primary school, that was to read, and then a world opened up for you.
Yeah, it was a new world.
Yeah,
I started reading and never stopped.
Yeah.
Ja, dat klopt. And if I was visit my grandmother van op zoek naar books. And found them upstairs in a cabinet. And a lot of books, and I read them all. Sometimes I go to my grandmother to sleep, and I have always a book to read. So I never forget that.
You searched for books in the house.
And toen came a library up on our village. And my dad take books and brought for me books too. So
Oh,
the problem was solved.
when do you remember when the library came? How old were you?
So you're probably 10, 11.
Okay, that was, I think, around Second World War,
Yeah,
right?
then just after.
Just after.
Yeah, I think, I remember, then started in a lot of new shops. And there came a library.
Wow.
In a bookshop.
It's so crazy to think about this, that you come from a time where there was no books, no information. You had to search for books. Whereas right now, I was just talking to a friend about this, like I'm trying to spend less time on social media like Facebook, and it's so easy to go there, but it's like an overwhelm of information. It's like the opposite.
Yeah.
You have to get away from the information, and you were like scarce for it. Like you had to look to find books to read.
Now I came with my best friend, and she had 2 brothers, and they read other books as girls. So, and they read books with adventures. And so, if I came to visit her, I sat there and read the books of the boys. I never had enough books. I never.
No, you only read boy books. But that's also interesting, because that is also changing. Like what is for a boy, what is for a girl in the times that we're living in, it's becoming more fluid.
Yeah, it's all mixed now.
Yeah.
Dat was een boek voor een girl was different. Book as a book for a boy.
Sorry,
an adventure.
Oh, an adventure book, that was a book for a boy. And a love book, that was a book for a girl.
Yeah. Sounds very boring. Girl books.
Yeah, you thought they were boring? It's such a different time. And also one of the things that I really enjoy learning from you is when you speak about back in the day, that people, they didn't have beautiful teeth. Like they used to have...
Nou, dat was geen dentist, hè?
No, there was no dentist available.
Nee, want het eerste tandarts, dan moest ik van achter de brug naar Ierseke toe, hoor. En kinderen op de fiets, ik weet niet of je het nog weet. Hendricks.
Yeah,
Later is er ook Kruiningen gekomen, maar ja, Hendricks was zo goed, hè?
I can still see this dentist practice. And I have not a good memory with that, but that I still remember.
Yeah, so just to what my grandmother was saying, just for the non-Dutch speakers, that you can still remember going to the dentist, that you had to go to another village the first time you went.
Yeah. That's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's really funny, because then I really enjoy, and I think I get it from you, and you gave it to Mom, and Mom gave it to me. I really love historical romance and also on television, costume drama. And then, for instance, Downton Abbey, which is critically acclaimed because it's historically accurate. And then I think, no, it's not. because they have beautiful teeth.
Yeah.
That's not authentic.
Yeah.
So I'm really waiting for a show that is willing to go there and show like ugly teeth. And
it is natural because of the health service that we also have our teeth repaired, because most of the people had no money to go to the dentist.
okay.
And because of the healthcare for the other country,
Yeah.
saying all the teeth are very nice now.
Yeah.
Most of, not all.
No, not all, but yeah, it's definitely an improvement upon what it was. Yeah, I think that's, yeah, it's just crazy to think about what you experienced.
Ja, dat vertel ik straks, want dan was ik maar een week op. Had ik dat in het Engels moeten doen?
Vertel het maar in Nederlands, dan vertel ik.
Nou ja, mijn vader was op slecht gebied. En die zei om eenmaal naar Bergen op Zoom gaan, in de trein. En daar zat een hele goede tandarts. En die kwam bij mij al nieuw gebed terug. En toen de tanden weer nog zo slecht, want die had best een hele goede tand. Maar ja, er werd niks aan gedaan, hè. Dus die was later ook daar naartoe gegaan. In Bergen op Zoom zat toen een hele goede man die hele goede gebeden maakte. Ik geloof van helemaal de oudere familie er geweest is. Dan moest je wel in Bergen op Zoom. Dat was toen nog een hele onderneming, hoor.
Oh, wow. So back in the day, your dad, who had very bad teeth, he had to go all the way to Bergen op Zoom, which is by train. How long would that take?
Did he have to go by boat? Because there was a time that this was an island.
Yeah.
He had to go by boat?
Nee hoor.
No, there was already a bridge connection.
Ja, okay. Ja, want het is in Brabant, denk ik.
Yeah. By car, it's 15 minutes now.
Some people live on the island and they have to go by boat and then by bus and then by train.
Yeah, my grandmother lives in the south west of the Netherlands, in a province called Zeeland. So there's basically a lot of islands over here.
Allemaal eilanden.
Yeah, it's all islands. I had to drive 2 hours to get here today. Yeah. So all your at the time older family members, they had to go to this dentist, and he had a craft. He was really good at making beautiful teeth.
Yes.
Yeah. That's all. Yeah, that's also different, right?
Yeah, it's different.
I don't know I don't know a dentist who's known for making beautiful teeth.
Now it's so common.
Yeah,
because there are labs that produce them, so it are not the dentists themselves anymore.
Yeah, and also and also people take care of their teeth.
Ja, dat is eigenlijk met de health service van de government.
Yeah,
is
that changed
because
of the public health service over here.
Good people take care of their teeth.
That's a good.
There was no money for.
Yeah.
They had no money.
What is, if you look back through your life, like what is the biggest change you saw in the world?
Yeah.
No, but what is, if you look back in your life, like what changed in the world that was really big or that really affected you?
Nee.
Like most changes you...
Een van de grootste veranderingen is wel dat iedereen autorijles kon nemen of motorrijles en een auto kon kopen of een motor.
Okay.
Dat vind ik wel een van de grootste veranderingen.
Okay, so that everybody...
Veel vrijheid natuurlijk.
Ja.
Want ja, anders moest je natuurlijk met de bus. En dat geldt natuurlijk voor heel Nederland.
Okay, so that people could get their driving license and started getting their own car, and that gave a real change in the freedom that people could experience.
Ja, dat is ook, no?
Yeah, I'm trying to imagine that. Well, I can in my own life. I got a car 3 years ago or 2 years ago. Yeah, it's amazing.
Ja, dus voor jou precies zelf.
Yeah.
It
was a big...
daarom denk ik, dan stap je het helemaal.
Yeah, but I'm just trying to comprehend this on a societal level. Right now it's just an individual, but like as a society, suddenly everybody can move. Well, I've experienced this year that suddenly everybody can't move because of the corona pandemic, right? So suddenly everybody's
En je het veiliger?
yeah, everybody stays in and is traveling less. So
I think we need to do a few concluding because I'm looking at the battery life.
oh yeah, oh yeah, we could talk for hours more. I think.
Yeah.
Okay, let me think. If there's anything, is there anything that you would like to say at this moment?
Wat te zeggen?
Is er nog iets wat u zou willen delen?
Nee, ik zou ook even niet weten.
That's okay. You, Mom?
Yeah, well, if you look back at your life, it has been a very interesting life, but it has not been a very easy life. Things were not given to you because that started already that you witnessed the Second World War. You have a lot of stories about it. You can remember many things about it that were not nice. You had a happy period when you started your family. You had an orchard that was the producing of apples and pears and everything. So then you moved to another part of the country, and there you had together with your husband, my dad, your granddad, this beautiful how do you say that, orchard to produce fruit. But the moment that the trees were ripe to give the fruits, then there was a crisis in everything to do with fruit. So it was almost becoming bankrupt and you had to stop. So my dad, he had to be schooled into a complete new job.
Yeah.
And you really had to count the money once a week, being able to buy meat and always taking care that the children go to school, that they have their clothes and stuff and things. Finally, you managed to get your own house, the money came back again, but that was the moment that passed on. You had to say goodbye to your house where you lived for 60 years to move into a flat, and now the time you have all the money to spend.
Ja, ik heb er niet meer nodig.
Yeah.
She can laugh about it.
Yeah.
She has all the money, but she doesn't need it anymore.
Yeah.
Ja, maar dat is zo.
So if you look at a life like this, so many things happening in your life.
Ja, ongelooflijk.
And money has always been such a worry for you. That worry is completely gone now. That's strange. Now you can buy all the books you like.
Yeah.
And so
There are a lot of books here.
yeah, but yes, that's a story. I think it's not unique. So people struggle in their life, and the moment that people think, well, now I can enjoy it, then you see that things just fall away.
Yeah.
So that's tough. That's really tough. I know that you are very happy and grateful for the children you have, the grandchildren you have, but still, it's more lonely.
Yes.
Ja.
Ja, maar geld dat niet meer gebruikt niet.
No more lack of money.
Nee, nu kan ik het amper uitgeven.
So if anybody has ideas for my grandmother how to spend her money,
Oh, now she will be bombarded on Facebook.
please send a message to us. But I thought of something that I want to ask before we close off, because you had a hypnosis session.
Wat?
You had hypnosis sessions, right?
Ja,
Je bent in hypnose geweest.
ja.
How was that? Hoe was dat?
Oeh, ik vond het eigenlijk wel ontspannend.
Relaxing?
Ja.
Yeah, what do you think of hypnosis?
Nou, ik denk dat het niet helemaal goed komt doen voor sommige mensen.
Ja.
Het was voor mij een beetje laat.
Ayla, please
Ja, ik
translate.
zeg het wel wat ik voel, maar dat is gewoon zo.
Translate.
Oh, yeah, she's saying that I think it can do a lot of good for people. And then, but yeah, unfortunately for me, it came too late.
Ja, nee, maar dat is zo. Het zou wel fijn geweest dat iets eerder gekomen was.
Yeah.
Maar ja, daar kan je ook niks aan doen.
Well, that's a good takeaway for the people listening.
Yeah.
Better start with it sooner than later.
Yeah.
Ja.
Well, thank you so much.
Nou ja, in ieder geval, maar we heel veel ellende had, maar ja, uiteindelijk ben ik toch in elkaar gebleven ook nog eens. Dat is eigenlijk ook aan wonderen. Want ja, wat er allemaal gebeurd is. Maar ja, het is ook niet raar dat natuurlijk ik heel flink overspannen geworden ben. Maar dat is natuurlijk het resultaat geweest van al die ellende.
Ja.
Maar ja, dat is ook goed te komen. Want ja, wat als er van iets ziet nu zijn, nou eenmaal hier komt, dan zijn we ieder jaar terug. Ik ben nooit terug geweest, hè. Ik dacht, nee, ze moet hem toch maar eens zien. Dat was ik niet van plan.
Now I'm having difficulty translating because that was a little bit of Zeus.
Okay. Well, she's telling, in spite of the fact that we had a lot of difficulties in life, it all came well.
Yeah.
You can imagine because that there was a period that I was in a kind of depression. So I went to hospital because of that. And there they told me, we will see you back every year.
Oh.
And then she thought, well, that's your thought, not mine. They will never see me back again. But you must remember, this was in a time.
She already knew hypnosis back then, basically.
Yeah, I think I was 8, so I remember it also very well. But after she came back, the only treatment I got were medicine. And then they said, now you go home. And then she had to treat herself because there was really no treatment.
Yeah.
It was only, they gave her a sleeping treatment. At that time, people didn't know that much about psychology, how do you say that?
Psychiatry.
Any therapy or whatever. So that was all in the beginning phases, I think. Yeah, we had Freud, that was already there, but it is not so widespread as it is now.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. So yeah, basically you were told to heal yourself.
Ja, uiteindelijk wel.
So yeah.
En ik was me ook heel goed van bewust.
So you were
Maar dat was
conscious
wel
about
fijn
that.
eigenlijk, omdat het is goed geweest.
Ja.
Maar dat is natuurlijk niet makkelijk.
No, so after you came from the hospital, your job started.
Ja.
Like picking yourself up.
Ja.
Yeah.
Wow.
Ja, het is gelukkig goed te komen. Hè.
Ja.
Voor jullie.
Yeah.
Ja, zeker.
Yeah, for us. Yeah.
She says, fortunately, it all came well also for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think this was really special, and I'm very grateful, grandmother, that you were willing to talk to us.
And so open, that is very beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ja, dat is eigenlijk wel moeilijk hoor. Dat zou ik jullie goed vertrouwen, anders zou ik dat nooit doen.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, she says it's because she trusts us. So that is why.
Yeah.
We will let you watch the movie and
Yes.
then you can give your okay if you want to share it with the world.
Oh, ja.
Okay?
Misschien dat er iemand anders wat aan kan hebben, ik weet het niet.
So she
Dat
says,
zet ik aan jullie over. Jullie kunnen dat misschien beter beoordelen, maar vooral jij natuurlijk in de video over jouw eigen medicine en weet je wat er gebeurd is. Want ik was er echt slecht op toen. Heel slecht.
I know, I really know. Yeah. So she says, perhaps it will help somebody and then it's okay to share it. You decide if you want to send it out to the world. I was at that time in a very bad state, but you see everything can become okay
Ja.
in the end.
Maar uiteindelijk moet je het dan zelf doen.
In fact, she says, and I think that's very important to conclude this episode, she says, in the end, you have to do it yourself. And that is exactly our experience. When we have clients who are not dedicated to change, we cannot change. We don't have this magic wand. Just sit in the chair and everything will be okay after you come from out of hypnosis.
Hypnosis is not a sleeping pill.
No, it's not a sleeping pill. It is being engaged, and in fact, you do it yourself. You are only guided to the roads you cannot find yourself. That's the only thing we do. We help you find your way.
Yeah.
The subconscious knows the answers.
Yeah.
So thank you, Mom. That's hard. That's hard.
Oh ja, misschien helpt het jullie ook nog op een andere manier. Ik zou het niet graag nog een keer doen.
Dat hoeft niet.
Ik wil het niet over.
Oh,
Was het zwaar? Was het zwaar?
Ja, natuurlijk.
Shall we?
Yeah, we conclude.
So the end to say she doesn't want to do it again. And now we'll give all the gossip that's not for the video.
Yes.
So
yeah, and as I said at the beginning of this podcast, that on our website, Hypnosis Community, we do in fact have an audio tape for people in their older age, and we're going to think about extra material because mainly memory training, you know, that could be helpful.
Maar uiteindelijk is het zo, je moet zelf je leven leiden en je moet er toch, als het erop aankomt, moet je het zelf doen. En kan je wel begeleiding hebben, maar het moet toch bij jou van binnenuit komen.
So, final remark. So you can have help, but in the end you have to do it yourself. It's nice if you're guided, but it is you who has to do the change.
Yeah.
That's beautiful to stop this.
Yeah.
And we'll see you next time.
Next time. Can you give a sneak preview what the next topic is?
Oh yes, the next topic. We're going to talk about aromatherapy because this lady over there, my mom, she has developed a new training that combines hypnotherapy with aromatherapy, and I want to find out more about that. So I'm going to interview her about that.
Dat is ook wel leuk, zeker dan.
We are going to do that. So, bye and take care.
Bye.